Dama, it's so good to be with you again, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Charlene. So nice to meet you as well.
Well, everybody, we were in Dallas all together as we kicked off the Super Summit from SuperOps. And one of the things that I saw was the heads were so excited and they were just thrilled to be learning about AI and how AI is going to change our MSP landscape. And Dama, because you are not only the innovation and the vision, but really your team with what you're saying to them is building what I consider the future of MSP businesses and how MSPs need to evolve. So I want everyone to meet you and introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're working on. And then we're going to deep dive into some of the questions that have come in about how AI is helping MSPs actually work their stack.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charlene. My name is Damo Vasudevan. I'm the VP of Products here at SuperOps. What we're trying to do is to build the AI stack of the future for the MSPs. A lot of our current innovations in AI are already being adopted and used by hundreds of MSPs, and we're learning from them on what to build next.
Wow. And guys, this is where you know that SuperOps is listening to our MSPs because they're understanding the business from the customer. A lot of times, Donald, people who are developing tools don't listen to the needs of the customer. They like to build things and hopefully someone will accept it, but not you and not the SuperOps team. So I'm so excited to do this live today because really, when you think about the MSP stack, one of the biggest pain points is the alerts and the automation that comes when they're trying to manage someone's infrastructure. How does that work with AI, and how is that going to help us be better business owners as MSPs?
It's an excellent question, Charlene. So historically, and actually many MSPs already adopt automation, and what I mean by automation is deterministic automation on if this happens, run this run book already, right? They adopt this at scale. We have things like policies and patch run books and playbooks defined in many platforms like SuperOps for them to execute things at scale and only take care of repetitive tasks, right? The opportunity there is with AI is to actually make it a little bit more intuitive with adding an AI layer on top, where you can give AI the alerts and actually let it perform actions to give you a certain outcome, right? So we're moving from a system of actually trying to just do basic automation at scale to actually doing intuitive automation at scale by taking the same kind of alerts but giving a better outcome than we did before.
Wow, and this is where a lot of our MSPs are not realizing what I consider the next evolution of their business, where automation can happen, less work on the tedious tasks, but more importantly, on the big picture that the clients want. They also want what I consider more efficiency in their business. And so, Dama, this is such an important part of why AI has literally changed how all of us do business, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in sales, whether you're an IT firm. It has changed how they do business, right?
Yep, and that's all. That's is something that we're seeing adopt in like bits and spurts. Because if you take, for instance, right now we have many platforms such as SuperOps doing things like ticket summarization, recommended solutions, script generation, efficiency reports, summarization and insights creation using LLMs and AI to already give you basic informative things out of the data that you have in within PSA, RMM, and others. But where it's going actually is to build the patch manager of the future, where it can actually build and patch your systems and keep it at a certain patch percentage. Um, Things like automatic ticket triage agent, where all
Mm.
incoming tickets can be automatically triaged and classified by AI before a technician even looks at it for the first time, right? Things that we thought could not be done effectively now can actually be imagined and implemented with AI.
Wow, that is so powerful. And guys, this is such an important part of your business because when you're looking at growing and scaling your business, one of the things, Damo, I know that many of our MSPs struggle with is that staffing need. And so, AI isn't just a silo, guys. AI is about training like you do your L1s, your L2s. It's all part of understanding what your environment is managing so they can help. So, how does AI help them in regards to maybe improving that role because they're training the AI agent?
That's correct. So the way we do is we break down, say, an L1 agent into the tasks. Let's take a simple agent who, the most junior agent that you have, who looks at a certain kind of ticket and performs certain actions, very simple actions like just help in password resets and help close tickets, right? This is something that we can train an agent, agentic AI, to actually work as a co-pilot to do the exact triaging of looking at a type of ticket and using the brains of an LLM to actually classify the ticket and trigger those actions to the requester and actually perform an action and close, right? And this is
Mhm.
something that not only helps your L1 technician balance their activities a little bit better, but I'll also be able to handle things at scale, right? Simple things like ticket, just password resets can be done by the helper agent, whereas the more complicated password resets can be done by the actual L1 agent. So the combination of AI plus and a real human L1 agent is actually the where the all the benefits are amplified.
And see, guys, it's not taking away anything you're currently doing. It's just enhancing the power of your team because the AI is a part of your team. And this is the biggest fear, Damo, many of our MSPs have and business owners who don't understand how to utilize AI inside of their current team. They're one of your team members, guys. They're being managed by someone else. The team needs to use AI as a tool to be better efficient, to actually have the right reports, to be able to pull what I consider hindsight, because Dama, at the end of the day, we're going to sleep. The
Yeah.
AI doesn't sleep.
That is correct. And that is the benefit of having an agent that can run and do stuff even when you're sleeping. And I think that's the quality of service expectation that you can set for your customers and charge more for, become, drive more revenue and be more profitable if you just did that, right? So it's a very interesting, step that you can take towards adopting AI as an MSP, keeping in mind very much that the training is done by you. It's almost like creating a sidekick for yourself. We are very conscious about the fact that the first wave of all this AI is not going to be fully autonomous. It's very difficult to actually understand every scenario that, and as a technician you go through. So it's going to help you solve parts of your job well, things that you don't want to do, which is like crunch like a bunch of data and give you an insight. That can be taken care of by AI. But looking at that insight and making sure your customer is happy with that insight and applying that insight properly is something that the technician can do and amplify his work, right? So that is the intent.
Well, and that's what's really brilliant because when you were on stage in Dallas and we're getting ready for Orlando, I mean, literally in the next couple of weeks, we'll be here in Orlando. I know that one of the big pushes in AI is to actually provide good content into it so that the LLM can actually spit out what you want and what you need. But now a lot of people don't understand that the robot food that you're supposed to feed your AI is really what you're trying to educate it on, train it on so that it can help you.
Correct. And actually, it's the data. There's three things that go into creating a good agent, right? One is the LLM, which is actually comes standard. Even the customized ones that you get from providers like SuperOps is actually quite generic. It's good enough to make a decision. It already knows a lot about your AI and like in your MSP processes. But what makes it unique is actually the context that you provide to that AI, which is basically telling it how your MSP actually operates and how it should reply, like how what sort of sensitivity it should look it should look at while looking at the data that you're exposing to it as an MSP, and you're sharing it the previous tickets and the previous conversations that you're having with your requester to use as reference. So what the AI actually does is it's almost like like a junior tech brain looking at your previous interactions, learning from it very quickly, understanding your context, saying, okay, I can't, like, I have to talk, I have to give you a reply a certain way so that I don't look, it's the context is sort of maintained, and then giving it to you, and then you deciding whether this is good enough for you. And you can say, okay, you can tune it and say, no, no, go back and look at this additional ticket, or go and change your response to be a little bit more formal, and look at your analysis for only within the first 30 days. Don't go look at a ticket that goes longer than a few hours, for example. And you can help tune that the way you would like it to work, and then create that agent. So that is the training aspect that we're talking about. Everything that you see in SuperOps is actually quite trainable. Our recommendations are trainable. You can see the responses that you get for summarizations, even the language translations are all trainable because you can give it feedback and adjust and tune the prompt that you can supply to the LLM so that it's customized for your MSP.
But Dama, that's part of the next evolution of who we are as people as we work with AI, because we want to be able to curate those conversations. Imagine if you could put your tickets into your AI guys and actually find out what are the pain points of this customer. What do you need to upsell with the customer? Maybe there's some gaps in your current stack that they need, but you're not using AI to actually help understand that because you're too buried in other things that you've got to get done. So Dama, they're missing an opportunity to sell more clients services and to upsell clients and manage clients better.
Absolutely. One of the best applications of AI in that we're trying to get adopted by MSP is actually our concept of a coach, which is basically looking at all the MSP
Oh,
data, not just tickets, but actually across the board, and giving a context to the MSP itself based on where they are as an MSP and where they'd want to go, right? And how long, what is their path, right? So do they want to go from a 1 million to 2 million MSP in 1 year versus 2 years? And using that as a context, giving them suggestions on how exactly they need to look at sales and marketing and ticket reflection and profitability and clients and technician efficiency all at the same time. This is something that a human would find very difficult to do, which AI can do very easily. But the point is, AI can also hallucinate, so it needs a human on top to sort of figure out and tell it, this is what is a right way to look at things and the wrong way. So we tune a bit of it before we supply it for the MSP, but we also allow the MSPs, every persona sort of tune what the response is so that it's actually applicable to them. It's not like, oh, acquire 100 clients. We're like, I cannot acquire 100 clients in 1 year, right? So I need to figure out a better way to say that. But it is something that we're very conscious about, and we think that's where AI is headed, looking at like an MSP in entirety and showing growth in different aspects of the MSP that they can adopt.
well, and I appreciate that because I think that's really the next evolution, right? Is the system of AI versus the system of record. And this is a lot of times where many MSPs can't scale and grow because they don't have the infrastructure and they don't have the staffing for that. But system of AI versus the system of record, this is the biggest time waster for many MSPs who don't have the resources to do it.
Correct. So actually, the future that we're talking, and I think it's when you say the future, with AI, it's not years anymore. It's almost like a month time frame, like a few months, right? We believe that the combination is human and machine, like AI working together. That is the next big evolution that's going to take over the MSP side, where you have an MSP that has embraced AI and gives a very hybrid technician plus AI, and that's what they take to market, right? But
Right.
instead of using tools to click through and do workflows, what happens is these tools like PSA RMMs will become almost like like the system of record, right? They would be where they're almost like the ledger entries of whether things are happening or not happening from a ticketing side, from the RMM side. And the AI agent becomes your first touch point. Less like you're using ChatGPT right now, you
Right. Or
will
the bots.
with an
Mhm.
AI, and you tell it how you want the tickets resolved, how you want the patching to work, how you want all this to happen, and it'll say, okay, I'll go do all this, and it'll come back to you only when things are not working or it needs more questions, right? And everything that it does will be reflected into the system of record, so you can check on its work at any time, which is very crucial because you're moving from a really deterministic system to a system that is a slightly more probabilistic. So it's
Right.
good for you to know how it's actually working, so you can tune and set the guardrails right. But that is the future, and that is what we are building towards, right? It's where the agents become the touch point, and the tools sort of become lesser over time, right? That it's more of like the agents and the interactions with the ledger and the different tools out there, given all the new innovations that they have in terms of like model context protocol and others, where they can go between systems and give you what you want.
Well, and guys, many of you guys struggle with integrations, proof of concept. Sometimes you guys are stuck in that part of your onboard that many of you guys are losing precious time, and Dama, I see them onboard tools 6 months, 9 months later. It just takes so much time. And so when you have a system of AI, what happens is it tries to find the fastest, smartest path to get the deal done so that you can move on to next opportunities. And so, Donald, why does it speed up that time? Because I don't think people realize how fast we are quantitatively growing because of AI.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, right? When especially take onboarding, for example, it's all about understanding the context of the MSP's customer. Making them go through specific steps and getting them onboarded not just into the PSA RMM, but also into like systems like Microsoft. Like you'll have an Office account. You may have other third-party systems. If it's like an education, a K-12 system that has to be registered in, and then syncing all this into a single system that lets you understand where every asset is for IT, for example, and making all this come up and get your time to value in like suppose it has to happen in 30 minutes, right? In a new system, it's right now it's almost impossible to even think of those things. But with AI, actually it is possible, right? You can actually give it all these systems, and the way it interacts with all these systems is actually a lot more elegant than it was before. So things like setting things up, understanding how to do like onboarding is actually one of the best use cases that can be taken over, because right now it is an automated use case that AI can pick up.
Well, and I think that's the reason why SuperOps is looking at the future of MSP businesses. They're looking at the future of how MSPs are managing business clients, and really what I consider the next evolution of MSP business is going to be how SuperOps has envisioned this next growth because of AI, and that manage intelligent partner with the SuperOps commitment. I feel like is really the road that you're taking them on.
Correct. The MSP 3.0 is actually now morphing into this concept of a managed intelligence, partner slash provider, because what the MSP now becomes is, he gets access to pretty much all the intelligence that is there across all systems thanks to AI, and he uses that intelligence to make good decisions for his MSP, right? So and his customers at the same time, right? So that managing all these agent intelligence across his customers actually becomes the core value proposition of the MSP of the future. And like you rightly said, that's what we are building towards in SuperOps.
But that's where I feel like the innovation is now meeting a solution like AI can do it. This is the most important part. A lot of times, people dream big things, but they don't have the tools to build it. And now with AI, we can build anything of the future today.
Correct. And in a lot of cases, right, you have all these platforms, including Amazon and Google and OpenAI. They're going to continue to innovate. They already have coding tools built in. They have a lot of, so building software is actually going to be pretty easy, but building, maintaining the context within
Mm-hmm,
software
mm-hmm.
is still a challenge. So MSPs can certainly build some of these AIs, agents and things for their customers, and help in maintaining that. That's one part of the workflow, but the rest of what the innovations that they get for free from platforms like SuperOps are all these things already bundled in, so they can quickly start using this and become profitable, successful, and all very quickly. So that is the future that we see is happening.
Well, that's where many of our MSPs, I hope you're hearing this on our live or watching the replay, is that the goal is to have everything in one place. This is
Yeah.
where you're going to beat out your competition, because when you're trying to sell, when you're trying to market, when you're trying to get ahead, your competition needs to stand out. And if you're going to take to market the fact that you're using AI, that you're able to provide the AI service to your clients, and that you're able to integrate and use AI as a tool, well, they're going to be that much more successful. They're going to stand out in the sea of sameness.
Correct, and that is actually my question back to you, Charlene. It's actually the tech side of it is going to get solved in a certain manner, knowing that how technology actually works. Most of our MSPs are from the tech side, so they can easily understand, adopt, and use all the tech improvements that we're talking about, even the business improvement to a certain degree, right? In terms of invoicing, billing and things like that. But the real ask that they seem to have now is like, how can I build the best sales agent or the
Right.
best marketing agent, right? How can I do that? Because that means I have to not only look at SuperOps, but I have to go outside. I have to go find out what's out there on like LinkedIn, and find out my best customer and my ICP, and how do I bring all this together, right? So, guys, please share your thoughts on that as well.
Well, Adawa, you're one of the very rare, and I mean top 1% on the development side, on the product side, that actually understands the marriage that has to happen between sales and marketing. Anytime people develop things, they always want to know, well, how come it's not getting more traction? How come it's not getting out there? And this is the part, guys, that really matters in your business is how are you going to sell more? Because you need to market more. You need to market more with a competitive edge that you have AI as a solution. And it doesn't matter how many tools they put in their stack. If they can't market and sell, what happens is it just becomes another shiny object in their
Right.
stack that they purchase.
Yeah. Very well said. Very well said. In terms of like tools and in terms of just to add to that, in terms of like how we're looking at say improving the sales journey, SuperOps is also getting into that side of the things to understand how the sales journey works and adding insights there so that MSPs can make sales journeys better. The AI actually prompts them as a sales agent to acquire the right type of customers in time from different channels based on what they we use within the sales journey, and that's something that we're very excited about building.
Well, and this is why I believe SuperOps is really becoming what I call the full suite of services for MSPs to be more competitive and to win
Yeah.
more deals, because sales is understanding to solve a problem that their customer needs solved. Because SuperOps has solved that problem for the MSP, they should be in turn selling that to the customer. Now, I know that this is really hard for technical type of engineering mindset and brains. The thing is, your customer wants it simple. So the more simpler you can make it, the easier it will be for you to actually sell them the service.
Absolutely right, and exactly. So what we want to do as SuperOps is to be the the last platform that you want to adopt as an MSP, and so we'll be adding all these additional capabilities as we grow. So, but totally echo that sentiment, Charlene.
Well, I definitely know that upcoming event in Orlando is going to be what I consider the next evolution of MSPs really listening to the experts and authorities in the space about how AI is helping their business with selling, with marketing, with solutions that really help their business grow. And of course, we have this upcoming summit in Orlando. It's the MSP Evolution. It's going to be so packed with full of energy and individuals and experts and authorities that really understand what it takes to really grow your MSP business to that next level where AI becomes your competitive advantage. And Damo, I know that you and I won't be there because we'll be
Yep.
busy, taking care of the next show, which is going to be in San Diego. But this upcoming week, guys, it is
Yep.
going to be in Orlando at the Alfano Inn. And if you haven't registered yet, go directly to the link that our team has posted for you to register, because it's going to be packed with sales, marketing, framework of compliance, strategic, right? Understanding of how AI works and how AI can help you be that different piece of the puzzle when it comes to AI and business owners. But Damo, I know that you're also a part of the same team that really believes that our MSPs want to be successful in solving a problem that many business owners are afraid of, which is AI.
Yep. And yes, so in a lot of cases, just to like elaborate on that, from a business perspective, the MSPs certainly want to solve uh, their business problems first, right? So figuring out how they do say sales and marketing is one aspect, but once they land in the platform, they need to be able to like bill and get value for their services in the most effective manner. Understand who's their best client, who's their the most profitable client, who's and understand their technician spread, because with AI the challenge is you're not going to have too many more technicians that you'll add to your company, but at the same time your value would be the same as a company that maybe if you're like a 5 tech, it you look like a 10 or a 20 tech outside because you've added AI. And so the kind of requests and the the profitability and the success that you can get by doing all this is actually like manyfold over what you have right now. So it's very excited to see that develop and be created over time.
Well, I appreciate your time, Damo. Again, guys, we just want to emphasize next week we are in Orlando at the Super Ops Super Summit, the MSP Revolution. And Damo, you and the team have built such a wonderful, amazing tool that I believe that at the show they will get more information, like you said, about development, sales and marketing, understanding the technician side, and really taking what I consider the next level of the future of MSPs, which is AI. Thanks so much, Dalmo, for your time. I appreciate you and the SuperOps team.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Looking forward to meeting many of you. And yeah, please do register, and we'll have a great conversation. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dalmo.